Joining me now is Lawrence Korb, former Assistant Secretary of Defense. Larry, first of all, your thoughts on what Brennan had to say?
Well, it's understandable why they did it, but it's not justified. And that's what good leadership. Remember, he was #2 at the CIA at the time. And if he said it was legal, that they were allowed to do rectal feeding, I can't buy that at all. My guess is basically they were talking about some of the things they did, but didn't get into the specifics. And then if President Bush knew it, then he is responsible, for it. And Senator McCain said it well. This is not who we are. And I know it's tough after that, but that's what real leadership is, to keep your head about you when everybody else is losing theirs.
So, Larry, I think we can all agree torture is a horrible thing. In this case, obviously, it was also illegal. But what is the alternative here? If you're dealing with the aftermath of September 11th and you need to get information, valuable intelligence from these suspects, and they won't give it to you.
Well, the fact of the matter is, if you torture them, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear, okay? They're not going to give you valuable. And that, I think, is very important, because even Brennan didn't say, that we got critical information. If you read the Senate report, there's no indication they got very good information. And the fact of the matter is, some of the information we got was bad. One of the things, al-Libi, who was tortured, told us Saddam was working with al-Qaeda to get nuclear weapons, and that's why we went in there, which turned out not to be true.
Do you think Brennan was aware of what was going on at that time?
He should have been. He was #2 at the CIA, and if he wasn't, he should have been. I mean, when you're the boss, whether it's a military or government agency, you can't say, well, I didn't know what was going on, because as he pointed out, it went on for 5 years.
What is this going to do to our diplomatic relations around the world, and also the possible threat of terror? I mean,
I think in the long term it will help us, because countries are going to say, we all make mistakes, and there's the United States being honest about them, and I think they already knew. And, people who, when they did the beheadings, this report wasn't out, so it's not a question of, them doing other things, to us.
Larry, should this report have been made public to begin with?
Absolutely. We need to know. And it's funny, I've been doing this for a long time. Every time somebody comes up with a report that's critical, they say, oh, it's going to have problems. The Pentagon Papers, we had the Church Committee on the CIA, back in the 70s, where we discovered we were assassinating people. Then the president, banned assassination. No, in the long term, making things public leads to a better informed public and better policies.
There was a point there, Mr. Brennan said that, CIA operatives, a lot of them are doing their job. They carried out their responsibility faithfully under proper procedures. I imagine a lot of CIA staffers are a little frustrated with all this stuff going on.
Well, they are, but see, none of them are going to be prosecuted because of the fact...
And that was my next question.
Yeah, because of the fact that this is the guidance they were given. They shouldn't have been allowed to do that. That's why you got to hold the people who allowed this to happen responsible, not the agents when they were told. And the other thing he didn't mention, it wasn't just CIA people. They hired a lot of contractors. Who were they responsible to? And we've seen the problems contractors caused us in Iraq and Afghanistan with the military operations.
What about the double standard here? The United States is always preaching other countries around the world about their human rights record, and here is the United States.
Well, that's why it's so important for us to get this behind us, because we have to practice what we preach, and if we don't, our power in the world is not our military, it's what we stand for. And if we don't stand for the right things, we're going to suffer.
Larry Korb, thank you so much, sir,
Thanks
for your
having
time.
me.